More and more reports are coming out that threat actors use device code authentication in their phishing campaigns to take over M365 accounts or Microsoft Entra accounts. This authentication method is enabled by default in Microsoft 365, but can be blocked. So in this video, I will give you a quick demo on how device code authentication works, how it looks, and then I will show you how you can block it with conditional access policies. So the basics, how device code authentication is supposed to work. A user tries to log in on a device that doesn't really support to enter their credentials. For example, a Microsoft Teams phone device. You know, on a phone with a small screen, you can't really enter your password if there's not even a keyboard or plug in a FIDO2 stick or something. So instead, the device offers to use device code authentication. That's a generic Microsoft URL that is displayed, and then the user is supposed to take this address, enter it on their computer or maybe on their smartphone, and on that web page they should enter a code that is shown on their other device. If they go through with all that authentication, then they can basically allow the login on that small, maybe telephone device via their computer. Here's a quick demo. I'm using Token Tactics V2, which you can find on GitHub. I already downloaded it on my computer, so I can just use it now. I get this URL, microsoft.com/device-login, and this user code. Now an attacker would maybe create a smart phishing email with some text that tricks the user into clicking on the link and then entering the code, maybe like a faked meeting invite. So let's change to the system of the victim here. So this is a different computer. And as you can see, I'm already logged into my M365 account, so I will not get prompted for username and password again. But if I would not be logged in, then I would get asked that too. So I go to microsoft.com/device-login as the attacker asked me to, enter the code, and then click on next. As I said, I'm already logged in, so I just need to click on my username to confirm that I want to sign into Microsoft Office. It doesn't say that it's anything malicious. It even asks me again, are you trying to sign into Microsoft Office? Sure, whatever, continue. And it's done. I have signed in and I can close this window. So back to the system of the attacker. It tells me now the token is acquired and saved in some PowerShell variable. So all this token stuff that I got here is basically the login session of the user. I could do all kinds of stuff now, access their files, maybe even change them. And some of the permissions would even allow me to gather more information about the organization. So that just as a quick overview. Let's move up to defending. So first thing that we can do is check our Microsoft Entra sign-in logs. For that, I'm logged in as an admin to the Microsoft Entra Admin Center, and I navigate to the sign-in logs. And you would usually change the date filter to 1 month, but in my environment, it's always a bit slow, so I keep it to 24 hours for now for the demonstration. And to show only the relevant stuff, we click on Add Filters, then scroll down a bunch and we go to Authentication Protocols, click on Apply and then choose Device Code and Apply again. But this will only show successful device code authentications. So probably some legitimate users, but it could also list some instances where attackers already phished your users. So look closely what's listed here. There's also a second filter that we can use to find maybe blocked or aborted device code authentications. So I remove that filter again and click on Add Filter again, scroll down and then choose Original Transfer Method, click on Apply and then Device Code Flow, apply again. If you see some entries here that are with the status of failure, then these could be aborted device code authentication requests. Again, look closely, could be something malicious here. Then to actually block these device code authentications, we can go to Protection and then Conditional Access. then to policies, and I already created a policy to block device code authentication, which I put back to report only mode for this video, but I can show you the settings in my policy and then we can enable it back. So I gave it an easy to understand name, block device code auth. For users, I included all users and I excluded my break glass emergency account. I personally like to exclude the break glass account from all conditional access policies. I know that some people are handling that differently, but I always exclude them to make sure that I don't accidentally block the account somehow. Then the next section, target resources, we just take all resources, so all cloud apps. Moving to the next section, network, that is something to consider. If you have some legitimate use cases for device code authentication, then you could enable it, so set it on yes, and then include it for any network or location, so it's generally blocked. And then you create an exclusion and only allow it for some of your networks, some specific networks. So for example, if you have all the public IP addresses of your on-premises locations here, then you could select them here. Or it would also be possible to only put all these devices that need to initiate the device code authentication flow. You could put all of them in one network and let them use one specific public IP address, and then only allow the device code authentication for those, if you have some spare IP addresses. And the relevant IP address here is the initiating IP address. So if an attacker from somewhere on the other side of the world is starting the device code authentication flow like I did with token tactics, then their IP address would matter, not the IP address of the user who's sitting internally on your network and approving it and going to microsoft.com/device login. So this approach is pretty easy. If you know, hey, all my team's phone devices are on this one network, then you can just allow that one and block all other networks, and then you should be good. Anyway, I don't have any of that, so I go back to no. Then next section, conditions. We have to scroll down a bit, and then the last entry here, authentication flows. And then you need to configure it, set it on yes, and then set the checkbox here for device code flow. And don't forget to click save here. Under grant, you need to select block access because on default it's on grant access, but we're here to block, so select that and click on select here on the bottom. And then usually you would want to start a new policy with report only mode, and then let it run a bit, check the sign-in logs, and then if it's all good, nothing overblocked, then you can put it on. And usually you want to include your own admin account in the policy as well. So since I already tested it, I'm setting it to on now, and I include myself and click on save. It usually takes some time until a new conditional access policy is active. So we will do a quick cut and then I will show you how it would look if a device code authentication is blocked. So I basically do what I did before. I use token tactics v2 to generate an authentication request. And then as the user, I enter the code and it's already blocked. I get the message, you don't have access to this. That's pretty good. And in case if you wondered, the attacker doesn't see any of that, so they don't know that they were getting blocked. Also nice. And after some time, this blocked authentication should also show up in the Entra sign-in logs. So we can go back to those and add the filter, original transfer method, apply, and there we choose device code flow. And here I see my blocked authentication. And in the details, I go to the tab Conditional Access, and there I see that my block policy got applied and it blocked the authentication. Nice. So that's all that I wanted to show you in this video. I hope you found it interesting or helpful. If yes, please leave a like, consider to subscribe to the channel, and maybe check out this other video here. Thanks for watching. Bye!